Hello and welcome to our show, Film Talk with AJ Dean. I'm AJ Dean, your host, and I have the impeccable, incredible actor, Paul Vato, with me as my co-host. Hey, Paul, how are you this evening?
I'm wonderful. Thank you for asking, AJ, and I hope that you are also doing well. It's such a pleasure and an honor to be here. We always have such incredibly talented and wonderful and insightful guests. So thank you for even allowing me to be a part of this. Thank you, AJ.
Thank you, Paul. We appreciate you. And Paul, you're right. The guests are phenomenal. In fact, we have the one and only film festival doctor. Yes, she's a PhD, Rebekah Louisa Smith in the house. She is an author and the film festival doctor, and she is amazing. And she's also an author. We're going to talk about her book. Let's give her a warm welcome, Paul. Hello, Rebekah. Welcome to our show.
Hi, both. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited. I love this show, and you just look phenomenal. That hair is impeccable. I mean, it's just perfect coloring. I love it. I love it. I've never seen it before like that, but it's the best. So keep it like that.
Oh, thank you so much, Rebekah. I really appreciate that coming from you because you are absolutely gorgeous. And you speak about how important image is in your book. I wanted to show this for everybody out there. This is your book from Dr. Rebekah Louisa Smith, and I'm going to hold it up so you can see the rest of it. It's called Born to Do It, and she is gorgeous. It's becoming the leader that you and the business for your business niche that you are supposed to be. It helps you every step of the way. Can you tell us about this a little bit, Rebekah? I love it. It's one of my favorite books.
Thank you. Well, that all kind of came about by like a happy accident. So it was all conceived and written during the 2020 lockdown when I was living in the UK before I moved to the US. And I've always wanted to write a book, and it was an idea I had years and years ago, but never really had the time to sit down and do it. And then I kept doing a lot of writing blogs and stuff in 2019 and 2020. And when the lockdown happened, a publisher approached me because she read a story that, well, not say a short story, but it was a detailed kind of life story in a Indian book called Unique. And I was like, okay. And she said, have you thought about telling your own story? Because what you want to do here, I see, is talk more about business and how to incorporate business techniques into your daily life with spirituality. It's a lot of this going on. Have you ever thought about doing a book? And I said, well, maybe. So I had an idea and brainstormed. Then I realized what I had inside me was a book I wanted to get out, which was helping entrepreneurs and those wanting to start their first business with the right kind of toolkit that I wish I had in the first place, but learned through time and experience. So it's kind of sharing my hard-won knowledge with those who really want to know what it is that they're supposed to be doing with their careers and what they're born to do. And it tells them how to create their first business using those important spiritual techniques that we need to draw on and business techniques. So it all came about just kind of really at the right time, even though I didn't plan during the lockdown to write a book because I was busy with the business still, the festivals have moved online, but I also had time in the evenings to write. I just wrote for hours, 2, 3 in the morning, and the book came together.
Amazing, amazing. And it is such an incredible book. It's a wonderful read, and you're going to get some great insights and strategies on what to do personally for you, no matter really, it's for, maybe it's directed for film, but it's really for everybody. That's what I believe. Isn't that right, Rebekah?
Yeah, I mean, it's for everybody. People in creative industries, people who are not sure what industry they want to go into, and those who are not just always in film, but those that just want to know what it is that they're born to do and need that toolbox. Because obviously my story in there is all linked into the film industry because I obviously work in film, but you can apply it to any industry.
Absolutely. And how can we get your book? I mean, I already got my copy, and I'd get another one if if Paul wants to get it, or any of the great people out there, how would they get it?
The best place to get it would be look at my website. You can order it directly from Amazon or through me, which is RebekahLouisaSmith.com.
Awesome. Awesome. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Rebekah. And I want to get right into it. We've got these great movie posters on screen. We've got 2 movie posters here. Incredible. Freedom, George Michael, the director's cut 2018, where you were the film festival strategist on there. Now, this is narrated by George Michael. It's a biography and a documentary about his music. And then the second one here, The Cunning Man, from 2019, amazing short film. Rebekah, can you share with us a little bit about each of those and your participation in them?
Yeah, so the George Michael doc came to me through word of mouth. So the editor of that film recommended me to Sony Music and George's team, because George had actually passed away by that point, because I think he just about finished it before he passed away, but it was pretty close. And it was a big thing that came on television here in the UK. And then they did a director's cut because George wanted to be tell a certain story and add more information in, but they couldn't do it for as much as he wanted, because they had like TV had a cut-off point of 90 minutes and he wanted to be like 2 hours. So they made a director's cut after he died and wanted to get on the festival circuit. So that's how they found me, through just word of mouth recommendation. So that was quite a big project, because we're dealing with like obviously a big team at Sony, and lots of people involved. George Michael has a lot of people involved in his life, even now, obviously when he's passed away. So there's a lot of people around him because his music lives on, legacy lives on. And they didn't know about festivals, which was fine, because it's part of my job is educating filmmakers and those who have made a film to help them navigate the festival circuit. So it was a lot of work to obviously like just explain about how it all works and to trust me on this process. But also it was a big responsibility, because this was like George's legacy. It was the last piece of filming he did before he passed. So it was, a huge thing to take on, and it did really well. It launched Edinburgh, Rain Dance Film Festivals, did Doc and Roll in UK, it did Krakow in Poland, a really big after festival. It did quite a lot of festivals, all the in-edit festivals around the world, which is all about music documentaries. So it had a huge, really good run, and we were very proud of what it achieved. And it was good to keep, me being in charge, looking after George Michael's legacy for his film, felt really special, because obviously it was George Michael.
Absolutely. I mean, we loved George Michael, and what an honor was it. Were you in such a state of awe and honor and such great respect, because he what an incredible musician, person. What did you think when you were approached? Did you think like, oh my gosh, thank my lucky stars? What did you think, Rebekah?
I'm quite a fan of his. I always loved Wham, and also loved most of his like solo stuff as well. So when I was approached, I was like, wow, because the short version of the documentary, Freedom it was called, had already aired on television. It was a big thing in the UK. It was all over the news. I was in the UK at the time when they approached me, and it was all, like it was a big thing, showing the real George Michael and, stuff he'd never seen before, because it was all, new material that he had never really shared with anybody on television, and like him recording his music. So it was a big thing, and everyone was talking about it. And then when they approached me about this director's cut, I was like, oh my God, it's going to get festivals. So excited. Oh my Lord. So it was like, oh, I'm the chosen one. It's like, I was meant to do this. I was like chosen by the universe to do it. So I feel very blessed that I did manage to work on this project. And it was such a good experience having that, to look after. And it was a lot of responsibility, and also a lot of, like pressure in a way, because you want to do well. And, not all festivals took it than we thought, because it had already aired in a shorter version on television, and some didn't like that, even though this was a different 2-hour cut. It is kind of like the same film, just longer, just more behind the scenes and stuff you hadn't really shared before. So somewhere, but some didn't have that issue. So every festival is different. So it was a big learning curve, knowing which ones would take it, which ones wouldn't. It's time to just get it out there and see what the bites were.
Wonderful. I love extra bits on documentaries. Yeah. So where can people see that? Where can people see it? Can they at all?
Well, it's still under the radar. So it got a lot of interest from distribution companies, but it's still very much like it was just for festivals only. And we finished it, and we finished the run at a charity screening to raise money for LGBTQ communities at the Frameline Festival, which is like the biggest LGBT festival in the world. And that was a brilliant way to end it. But they've kept it now just part of his legacy, and it's not available at the moment to see. But it might be soon, because obviously there's a demand. It's not really got to saw it on the festival circuit around the world, but fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. I'm going to join you in that, Rebekah. How about you, Paul? What do you think?
I love that. I mean, it's, of course, growing up in the 80s and whatnot, and George Michael was such a big influence, and I've always had an affinity to the Greek culture as well. So that was, when finding out like, oh, what, there's this Greek guy from the UK nonetheless, and it was just, I think such an inspirational story. And of course, I'm a big fan of comedy. So to see George Michael in Extras, Ricky Gervais'
Yes.
TV show Extras. I think Steve Merchant was also involved with Extras. But to see his role in that, and making fun of himself, and making it was even more inspiring. So I'm glad that you were involved with that. And of course, if there's anything that we can do to help or help promote it, we'd be more than happy to. And hopefully you can find that distribution.
Yeah, no, I hope so too. But thank you, that's great. And also remember a bit about Extras, that was funny. It showed the different George that we don't really see. He's a really funny guy. And I liked in this director's cut that you got to see more information about the court case he had with Sony back in the 90s, which was like a proper, really, really big thing. But and it's really insightful to see the why and the detail of it, and his passion for music and freedom for music and being an independent artist.
Oh, I loved him, and we will always love George Michael. And that song "Freedom," that's one of my favorite songs. Isn't it yours, Rebekah? Isn't that special to you as well?
Love that song. Freedom's great. I also love Father Figure. I think that's a brilliant song, one of the best. That album's really, really strong. I remember having when I was younger, I bought the CD of the Faith album, and we'd play it because we'd have, we had in our house, like we had a CD player because it was a new thing, a big thing having a CD player. We're like, oh, not vinyl anymore. So it was like the next big thing. So weird. And then just playing that alongside Lionel Richie's Dancing on the Ceiling is quite a contrast.
I love it. I love both of those. They're excellent. Yeah. What fun is that? That's great. That's super. Okay, we also want to talk about The Cunning Man. Now that came out in 2019. That's a short film. Can you tell us what that is about and the strategy of film festival for that? That would be great. Thank you.
Yeah, so that one came to me via Ali Cook. So Ali Cook I've worked with before, but not in the role of him being like the client and the main producer of the film. He's like recommended me to other people in films he's been involved with or starred in. And he's a great guy. He's really funny. He's also a magician, and he's a very talented guy, and he's great to work with. So I love working with him. And The Cunning Man is a brilliant short. And originally it was, he wrote it and created it for part of a Ari Alexa film challenge. So it wasn't like one of those challenges where you have to do the whole film in like 24 or 48 hours. They had to shoot it in 48 hours, and it was a lot to shoot. But then they had time to properly edit and, grade it, etc., so on and so forth. And originally it was just designed just for that competition, and it won the top prize, and it won the best short, because the film is brilliant. It's very original, it's very unique, and the lead actor is phenomenal. It's a film that I knew when I saw it could do really well. And it did, I think it did about 75 festivals, and it won over 30 awards. It did really well. It was a festival darling, because it's a film that is very easy to program because of its length, but also its story is very unique, and it can fit in different types of festivals. So it's directed by a woman, so female filmmaker festivals. It's got magic in, it's got a bit of horror in, it's got drama. So people, could really play around with it, how they wanted to perceive it. And it was special to me because I saw something in there that was, not really been done before, and using magic in a very creative way in filmmaking. I mean, so we're not going to spoil the ending for you, but it starts off like there's this weird man, carrying around dead animals around Wales in the UK. People are like, what's this weird guy? And it turns out that at the end, he uses magic to make something special happen. So it uses something you never ever imagined, but it's executed so well. A female director, a female team, and a female, a really powerful female. And Ali's great as well because he wrote it, produced it, and he also did some directing as well. So it was a real good team effort. And that was really great to work on because it was just great to see so many festivals really want this film. When we submitted it, it was really well received, and it did around 9 or 10 of the Oscar qualifying festivals, just the Oscar BAFTA ones. It did Aesthetica, which did really well there. It did CineQuest, it had a really, really good run. So I was very impressed by how far it went around the world and how many festivals and how many awards. It won at one festival like 4 awards. It was incredible at Horror Festival. We did a lot of genre festivals, did Fright Fest, which is a big one over in the UK for genre, and also Europe as well. So it was just very, very impressive. And that felt really good to manage, because it was one of the busiest campaigns, because it was constantly having to organize materials, get it out there. And I was, at festivals all the time. So he was, running around, and it was like traveling all over. So it's good for him to really, get him out there with the film more and make new connections.
Amazing, incredible. And I love this. I love the magic in it, the variety, and that it is filmed by a woman. I love that. I love that so much, hearing that. And I love that variety. Don't you, Paul? Isn't that fun? Oh, Paul, you're on mute.
Hi, is this better?
Yeah, that's better. Go ahead. Take two.
I said such brilliant things. I'm sorry you missed it. No. Yes. I'm such a big fan of the and especially well-crafted short films, and then to win so many awards.
Yeah.
I mean, I would love to see that. Is that available to watch somewhere, or?
Yes, so that is available. It launched online for its online premiere on Short of the Week. And then it also has sales and distribution with Shorts TV. So that's now, getting sold and touring around, which is really good. So so it's available. You can just Google it on Shorts TV and it'll be on there. And it's had lots of views, which I'm really pleased about. Very, very pleased about that. And also Ali's a magician, so he's always touring around doing that, and also acting as well. So he's got a great portfolio. He's on IMDb, and he's really good to check out. As is Zoe. They're both very talented individuals.
I'm sorry, is he touring in the UK? Is this?
It's pretty much worldwide. It's a lot in the US as well. So he's pretty much everywhere with being a magician.
I wonder. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Paul.
No, I hope that he makes it through Vegas. I'll definitely come by and support, because I'm of course a big fan of magic and comedy, magic, all that. I wish I could do it better, except for a few simple tricks. But yeah, it's wonderful.
I want to say congratulations. I agree with you, Paul. Absolutely. I love magic and I love magicians. And congratulations, Rebekah, on these 2 fabulous movie posters and the work that you did. Bravo. You did so well. What a great success. And I'm so proud of you. And I wonder if the gentleman in the Cunning Man is part of, in London or in England, they have the Magician's Circle. Have you heard of that? The Magic Circle or the Magician's Circle? It's kind of.
Yeah, I think he's part of that actually, because he's involved with some of that. He also has been to the Magic Castle in LA, which I love. I love the Magic Castle. I'm obsessed with the Magic Castle. So it's just, I'm having so much fun there, just going to lots of shows pre-COVID. So it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. So I love. What were we going to say, Paul?
We broke the record in the close-up bar. I mean, this would have been 15 years ago when there was a guy named Doc Eason who was performing. So a friend of ours, Jill Benjamin, I was friends with him, and she was like, we have to go see this guy. So we got all of our Mad TV friends, and we went to go see Doc Eason, and he was in the close-up room at the Magic Castle. And it was great because, you have to dress up. You can't just show up in jeans. You have to be, like old Hollywood, dress up, and, the secret code to get in. And we drank so much, I guess I probably shouldn't brag about this, that they're like, you guys set a new record for the bar in the close-up room. So apparently I don't know if it still stands. I'd love to come back. They're like, yeah, you guys almost drank us out of booze, and you guys rang up the biggest bar tab that we've ever had down here. So from what I remember, the Magic Castle was amazing. Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah, no, it's a lot of fun.
From what you remember, Paul, you're great.
Yeah.
Those are good memories. That's awesome.
I think so. Yeah.
I think so. We appreciate you, Paul, so much. Thank you for being sober tonight.
Yeah.
That was just a joke. Oh, I'm sorry. Is it time to go?
It's time. It's time. Yeah, it's 5 o'clock somewhere.
Yeah, it's time for dinner. It's time for the happy hour and a bite to eat, a margarita.
Well, cheers to all of us. Cheers to everyone here. That's so funny. I love this. I did want to ask you, Rebekah, how did you become the film festival doctor?
Yeah. So I was studying for my PhD in film and audience research in Wales and Aberystwyth back in 2008, 2009. And I enjoyed the PhD. I'm very proud of it. You know, I finished it and I'm a doctor. And the problem is during the process, it's quite isolating and lonely, just writing and writing every day. And it's not very social. You know, you have a social team, go into the evenings, but it's a lot of work and a bit hard, heavy going. So a friend of mine who I knew when I was living in Worcester, he moved to Aberystwyth in Wales where I was studying, and he was the manager of the theatre. And he said he'd been asked to produce and put on a horror film festival by the Film Council in Wales, because they haven't got one in Wales of any horror festivals. He said, do you want to help out? And I was like, yeah, why not? It's a distraction. And this distraction actually was the key and the stepping stones towards me finding my sole purpose, having that aha moment. So as I mentioned in my book, I wasn't intending to really go into the world of, you know, film festivals and the film industry at all, really. I thought I was going to have to be in academia and, you know, teach and research, but that was not the plan for me. It was not the route that I was going to take. So what I did do was I realized when I was producing the festival, I absolutely loved it. And there was a gap in the market. When I spoke to filmmakers, I always said to them, what do you like and dislike about film festivals? And they all said, we love film festivals. We love, you know, meeting new people, getting drunk, having fun. But what we need help with is we actually don't know what we're doing. We don't know how to create a strategy. We don't know which festivals to submit our film to. We're just like going on without a box when that was still going and seeing what was on there and just chucking it in and hoping for the best. So we don't quite know who to turn to, who to ask, also what we're doing, hoping for the best and sort of win. And they were all kind of saying that. It was a very common pattern. And I had spoke to loads of filmmakers during the festival, because I always do that with my research. And because I was the one from the festival always traveling to other festivals, looking up their programs and meeting new people, I kind of knew what was going on behind the scenes and how their festivals programmed, how it worked. So I was very much like, I can do this. I'm going to set up a business that's going to help filmmakers get their films into festivals. And there was someone else doing it at the time who was publicly doing it that was, you know, visual, which is a website called Film Festival Secrets. And he's brilliant, Chris Holland. I really admired his book and I loved his website. And I was like, oh my God, this guy's onto something. But I just want to develop the model, really. And I like what he did. And a friend of mine said, well, there's one person doing it, and it's pretty niche. So you're going to have to work hard to prove that it can work. And that's what I'm doing now full time. So that's the story. It went from, I want to be in academia, teaching, to I'm going to be the film festival doctor.
Amazing. I love it. And also in your book, you show how people can also achieve their dream, their niche of where they are supposed to be. You know, what they're supposed to do, their passion. So I hope I can get it in here. I want everybody to buy this copy. Well, this copy is mine. You can't buy it, but I want everybody to buy it, right, Paul? But I want
right. But you could autograph it, AJ. You could autograph it for them if they want that copy.
No, this is mine forever. Dr. Rebekah Louisa Smith signed this personally for me, and I cherish this. So I thank you for that so much, Dr. Rebekah, and I love it. So everybody, please buy yourself a copy, and you can find your passion, your niche, just like Dr. Rebekah did as well. And so we already talked about what inspired you to write a book, which is I love, and how you became a film festival doctor. And so how can people get in contact with you? You said your website, right? Or they can follow you on Instagram, Facebook?
Yep. Follow me on Instagram will be best, because I'm very active on Instagram, which is at Rebekah Film Doctor. So it's Dr. REBEKAH Rebekah Film Doctor. And I have two websites. There's thefilmfestivaldoctor.com, which is all about my business and our current portfolio, how we work, how we can help you in our story. And the other website is my personal brand, which is RebekahLouisaSmith.com. And that's all about my book, what I do with my business, and other things I do, and more about me. So those were the best places to start to discover more.
Awesome. We want to hear that so that we can support you, Dr. Rebekah. And Paul, I'm going to send it over to you for any questions. Go ahead.
I do have a question, and you mentioned it, but either I didn't understand because, obviously you're speaking English and I only speak American. So your doctorate, I'm sorry, what were you studying, or what is your doctorate in?
Yeah, so my PhD is in film and audience research, and the PhD is a thesis on Quentin Tarantino. So believe it or not, it analyzes the emotional responses to his two core fan bases, which are US and UK, and looks at how they respond to his films, and it kind of assesses theories of emotional response in film if they're accurate. Do people actually respond like this, or don't they? And in this case, we found out that they don't. They have a different way of engaging with certain types of auteurs. So it was really interesting. And a lot of the research discovered that Tarantino's fans have a connection and build a bond with his dialogue by his characters. So it was very interesting. I used the case study was Death Proof and the Grindhouse double bill that came out when I wrote it. And that was interesting because they had the Kick-Ass girls, Zoe Bell was in it, and Rosario Dawson. Then you had Stuntman Mike, Kurt Russell, who was phenomenal. So it was a really interesting PhD, and it revealed so much. It was really fascinating. And I'm proud of it. And it's actually in the National Library of Wales and Emirates University. So it's very good to have them there.
Wonderful. Thank you. Yeah, okay. I now I understand. Thank you.
That's a great question. Thank you so much, Paul, for that. And I wanted to, I've got a couple more questions, and then I'll hand it back to you, Paul. But first off, I wanted to ask you, what projects are you currently excited about working on now?
So we've had a few films come in that have just finished post that are absolutely brilliant. So I'm really proud of all my portfolio. But we're actually working with Fair Trade International. They've produced and directed a web series, which is called Farmers, and it follows three different farmers in different parts of the world during the pandemic and the problems they faced getting bananas from Peru around the world during the pandemic and lockdowns and strict government policies. It follows a woman in Kenya who makes coffee beans and her issues, and also a lady in Indonesia that makes coconut sugar. But they're all kind of got their own challenges, and it also makes it more human because they bring in their personal story, not just about fair trade. It's not like a promo just for fair trade. It's quite interesting in terms of giving them a voice for those people that make all those kind of products that need to go around the world, and how difficult it is when you have a pandemic. So it's fascinating. And that's a really good web series. So like a web series to get our teeth into. There's also a brilliant short film that's doing really well, just started now on the circuit. It launched at the BFI Flair, which is the biggest LGBT festival in Europe and the UK actually, which is brilliant. And also it'll be launching at the Oscar qualifying Norwegian short film festival in Norway, which I'm very excited about too, called Dash. And it's just a brilliant short film, and it's so sad, but it's absolutely phenomenal. It's moving, really good piece of work. So I'm really proud of Rory because he's worked really hard, did it all by himself, and it's brilliant. I'm also working with a debut short film director who is really, really one to watch, called Rupert Ratcliffe, and his short Can I Help? That just launched in the US at the Phoenix Film Festival. Did really well, went down really well with the audience, and it also screened at the BFI qualifying Manchester Festival, which went that well as well. So we've got lots of great exciting stuff, really diverse stuff. I've also got coming in a children's animated television series, which is very cool, which is from Germany. So it's got really nice, eclectic, diverse kind of portfolio, and features and shorts as well. So we've got a nice mixture. And they're all now touring the circuit, which I'm really proud of because they're getting seen and getting awards. And I've also got a poetry short film called Time and Tide that stars Greta Sacchi, and that just won Best Short at the London Independent Film Festival.
Wow, congratulations. This is amazing. We celebrate with you, Rebekah, on these wonderful successes that you are having. And Paul, before I hand it over to you, I wanted to ask Rebekah one more question about Cannes Film Festival. A lot of people have never been to Cannes Film Festival. Can you share with us a little bit of what it's like?
Yes. So it's a very intense but friendly festival. It's very tiring because you're constantly on the go when you're there. It never stops. It's not like a holiday, it's work, but it's great because you meet lots of great people from all over the world. One thing I would say as a tip, one thing that I found out when I first went there, which I wished I knew before, was shoes. I had really big high heels, and you do a lot of walking all over Cannes, around the Palais, everything. It's insane. So I would say just wear flat shoes, but also bring the business cards and get people's numbers when you're there, because you meet lots of great people. A lot of people like to go to a place called the Petit Majestic. I prefer the Majestic anyway, but it's a great place to meet people. Cannes is all about meeting people. Some don't always, turn out to be the right match for you, but some do. So it's a great place to discover. And I've always met every time I've been there. And I've been there pretty much every year until I moved here. Without a doubt, and it's always been good people I've met, kept in touch with, and done business with, and I've also met people who have become best friends. So it's a great place to meet and connect. I recommend everybody should go, just for the experience.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that with us, and I love the Majestic, how that sounds. The Majestic.
Oh, yeah. Well, there's two. There's Petit Majestic, which is like the cheaper version. And there's the Majestic, which is a really nice, gorgeous hotel. But I love the Majestic. This is just so, it's really beautiful and really like a home from home.
Oh, I love the sound of that. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Paul, over to you.
Yeah, I'm sitting here dreaming about going. Yeah, we need to do a project. We need to get there because, I'm in Vegas, and of course we have a lot of conventions here. So I'd assume it's a lot like that. A lot of walking, a lot of pressing of the flesh and shaking hands and meeting people, and possibly meeting people to set up a deal or find someone that you can collaborate with. And especially this year being collaboration over competition, I really think, I would. And of course that's right up my alley, and I'll just have to brush up on my French. I'm sure everyone speaks English, but or American, but I would like to learn a little French.
I would also definitely, when people are planning on going there, is to have like a packaged product. And if you just come with like an idea, you need something more substantial, like like a finished script that's packaged, so you can start shopping it around to producers or sales agents or something like that, and come prepared. And what I wouldn't do is get your short film in the short film corner, because it's pointless. It's actually not taken that seriously. So it's best just to maybe come there with a project and with people and connecting, and say you have a short, which you'd happily send them directly a private link, that kind of thing, not in the short film corner, because it's not going to do anything for you.
Would you, and by putting together a kit, do you literally mean a finished script and then maybe like a pitch deck? And could all this be done electronically, or do people actually want a script in hand to read that night? Or is it more, here, let me send you my pitch deck and script or treatment? Or what would you suggest for somebody?
Pretty much electronically. And have, say, the pitch deck and the script and ready to send people, first of all, the pitch deck and then the script. Is the best way to kind of build the bond. Also bring maybe showing them on your phone, like a teaser trailer or a sizzle reel, that can then think, oh, this is high quality, because it's all about visuals. You have to show them something. When we're pitching films to festivals and explaining, what's on our portfolio and films to represent, we have to show a trailer, because it has to get them, they can see the quality of it, they can see how good the acting is, they can see everything from that, as opposed to just, all right, we'll send us a trailer. So it's going to be like go around in circles, show them something there, get them excited, and like, oh, we've got a good person here we can connect with, and that's a good product.
Question. So, and you are, the film festival doctor. Does that mean, do you work with the film festivals, or do you work with somebody like me or a filmmaker? And then what's that process like? What's your specialty there?
So our specialty is we work predominantly with the filmmaker. So typical kind of scenario is the filmmaker comes to me and says, I finished my film. What do I do with it? Which festival should I submit to? Who's going to want it? How can I strategize? How can I get the best results? And then we create for them a very streamlined and focused strategy, which has the best kind of festivals to submit their film to get the best chance of success. We do deal with festivals because obviously we give them good quality content to screen. So when we're managing a project, so we say that we take on the film like we're doing with Fair Trade. So they said, right, okay, we're going to trust you on this. We don't know festivals, so we're guided by you. So you're going to do all the admin work and do all the pitching and submitting and organizing the festival screenings. Obviously, then we talk with the festival, we pitch to them and say, right, we've got a film in our portfolio, which is a web series, they're 10 minutes long, each of them, and they're good size and they're really interesting, informative pieces of work. And then you do a good pitch and show the trailers and get them interested. So we do know a lot of festivals. In terms of how we work with them, it's giving them content to screen.
Wonderful. And then, and I don't know if this is personal, but I guess it's business. How are you compensated? If it's something you want to talk about, if not, no worries, of course. Is there a set fee, or is it the size of the budget of the film, or how does somebody know if they can afford you? Because it sounds like it's an amazing service.
Thank you. So compensation is we charge the client, who will be more than likely the producer or the director, a fixed fee. So we have consultancy service, which is a fixed fee for like an hour session, and we create the strategy. Then we have a service where management services, they have different packages. So some are retainer per month, some is a fixed fee. So they all kind of vary. The prices begin for a strategy package where we put strategy in and have the consultancy at $798 and then go up in price with management. Management is more because it's a lot more involved and hands-on. Being a consultant is good because the filmmaker does the submissions and manages the whole project, and we're in the background getting the right plan. Management though is a lot more hands-on and involves me and my team working closely, so that's a lot different. But it's really exciting because either one, get your hands dirty and get really excited about the results you get.
And is that for one festival, or is that they brought you on the team, now you try to get them in as many festivals as you can, or if it's management, I guess, because if it's consultancy, you're like, okay, thank you for your help, now I'm off on my own. But if you're managing, then are you trying to get them into all these other festivals?
Yeah, so management is getting as many festivals as possible. So packages where we can do like a smaller campaign and do 45 submissions. Then we've got gold where you can do 60 submissions, and platinum's doing loads, like over 100. So it depends on what the filmmaker's goals are, what the budgets are, what they want to achieve on the circuit. So there's nothing's like fixed. To just go on and on.
I love this. It's really, it can be catered and personalized to anyone, whoever is a filmmaker and who wants to enter film festivals. Is that right, Dr. Rebekah?
That's correct. Spot on. Because I'm with the Cunning Man, they really wanted to go far, because I said to them, look, this can do really well, because although you didn't plan to do festivals, it did 75, which is went from we're doing it for a film competition challenge for Area Alexa to actually it's Festival Darling is quite an amazing kind of turnaround. And with George Michael, that was platinum too. But sometimes with short films, they have a much smaller budget, so they don't. Not everybody can always do that many, because they're limited with submission fees as well. So everyone's different. So you have to work it and tailor it around each client.
Wonderful.
Are there so yeah, that's my understanding, of course, that there are submission fees to enter your films or projects into festivals. Now, are there prizes, cash prizes, like for first, second, third, or is it more like you're doing it more for the recognition that, hey, my film won this festival, or is it both, or how does that work?
So all festivals vary. Some awards will be, a trophy or a certificate. Some will be a trophy and a prize as well, which would be something like, it could be, like from one of their partner or their sponsors, like a free gift. So Inktip give a lot of screenwriting software away, which obviously saves money. Some festivals do give cash prizes, which can be up to 10, 15K, quite high. Some do smaller cash prizes like $500 or $1,000 or less than that. Some festivals give awards which are courses for filmmakers to expand their career. So they all kind of vary. Like, for example, that poetry short film that won the best UK short at an independent film festival, they got a certificate, and they also got a amazing prize, which was money towards post-production for their next short film, which would obviously save a fortune, because that's expensive. It can add up, so that's a good price. So they come in different ways. Not all festivals nowadays, because of COVID, were able to offer as much with their prize money because of cuts in funding, but they can still offer something. And sometimes if it's, a gift that could save them a lot of money and be useful, that's just as good.
Wonderful. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. That makes perfect sense. And I would imagine submission fees range anywhere from, $40, $50 to 100 or hundreds, or is there an average that you have found?
Well, I mean, it depends. In the US, it can be, more like $30 plus. The average is like maybe $45. But in terms of, say, festivals in Europe and UK, they can be, $5, $10. Sometimes you get festivals that are free. That's rare, but sometimes you do. It can be, Abattoir charge $15 for their submission with the festival that I work for when I first started my career in the film festival world. So they all vary. Sometimes now they can be even smaller, because Film Freeway, a platform where you can submit your film to festivals, they have this thing called Film Freeway Gold. You become a Film Freeway Gold member, so you get discounts. So you can end up paying like a very small amount of submission fees if you do early bird deadlines, become a member. That way you get everything a lot cheaper. So it's really worth it.
Wonderful. So it sounds like it's not very cost prohibitive if you're entering a few festivals, but now I think you mentioned like you might enter 75 or 100 festivals. Now I can see where people are like, $30, $40 a piece,
yes,
times 100. Now we're talking a little bit, being cost prohibitive. But I like that, if you're selective, you can get your projects out there, and it's only fair that you're going to compensate whomever, they have to hire screeners. And I would imagine there's just a lot of logistics to making a festival happen. So thank you for sharing that. I hope that it'll help people maybe make a decision that, hey, maybe I can get my film in front of people and win a festival.
Exactly.
So
and it's also, festival prices will vary because you've got early bird, regular, and late deadline. So early bird is cheap, regular is pretty average price, and late can be very expensive. Not all the time, but sometimes with every festival is different, it might be. So it's always important to have a good festival submission fee budget in your bag, and make sure that if you're right, you can afford to. Some people come to me and say, I've got $500, can I do anything with this on fees? And the answer is yes. You just have to make sure you do everything early, and the right festivals will be very strategic, very still and very focused to get results. So it's being, not taking a silly risk and like, let's do a big, pie in the sky film festival that we haven't got the kind of film for, because that's just wasting money.
Wonderful. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Thank you so much. I love that. That's a really great question. Paul, thank you. I appreciate you and appreciate those answers, Rebekah. Just amazing. And we're having to wrap up the show soon. But we want to do final thoughts and any message that you would like to share, or anything that you would like to, sponsors or any shout outs to anyone. Paul, if you want to mention, Vato cigars, that would be great. And so we'll start with final thoughts. And thank you so much, Dr. Rebekah. You are absolutely amazing, and we love you. Final thoughts, over to you, Dr. Rebekah.
So my final thoughts would be, first of all, a huge thank you to you both. You've been brilliant. I've really enjoyed this chit chat. It's been great. I'm looking forward to it all week. And also my final thought would be, always have a festival strategy. So never submit to festivals blind and end up spending a fortune on the wrong festivals and wasting thousands potentially. Always have a plan before submitting. If you have no plan, then you're going to fail. So that's what I would always be, those words of wisdom.
Beautiful. I love that. And so I recommend and encourage everybody to get in contact with Dr. Rebekah Louisa Smith. She is the film festival doctor, and she has had many, many successes. And so follow her, support her. And thank you for those beautiful words, Dr. Rebekah. And over to you, Paul, for final thoughts.
It's amazing to meet all these interesting people that we are constantly bringing on, and every week it just gets more in depth into the film world, which I love, because it's easy to talk to directors and producers, but then to find people that really are niche and specialize in certain aspects of the film industry, to me, it's been eye-opening and such a great learning experience. So AJ, thank you for having me. I'm trying to figure out how to tie in Vato cigars to it. So I'm just going to show my company, Vato Cigars. But I would also like to, I feel like, Dr. Rebekah, I wish that maybe you might join us, if you're not already, on OWL, which is a company that I'm a brand ambassador for, because you have such knowledge to share, and you could also monetize it on OWL. But if you don't mind, I'll send you that link or that information, because I think, as I've gotten more artists onto the platform, there's going to be people that want to know about this, and you can set your rate at whatever your normal rate is, for 10 minutes or 20 minutes to talk to someone, or use it to funnel them to one of your programs, which I think, if anyone's going to do this, you should do it right. So when you're planning your budget, plan on having someone like Dr. Rebekah on your team to make sure that you're doing it right, because it makes perfect sense that if you don't plan it, you're going to fail. So exactly. That's wonderful. Yeah. So thank you again for sharing that. And if you don't mind, I'll send you that link, and you can just go to, absolutely. You can just go to paulvato.com to find all of my social media links and all that. So AJ, thanks again for putting this great interview together.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Paul. And Dr. Rebekah, thank you so very much. You are our special guest. And again, this is Dr. Rebekah Louisa Smith's book, and it's called Born to Do It. And let me hold it up so I can get a little bit of a better angle here so you can see it. And I hope that you can see, the top of it as well. So there we go, Dr. Rebekah Louisa Smith. Be sure to check that out on Amazon or on her website. And thank you so much, Dr. Rebekah. And oops, my fan is backwards, so I'll turn it around here. Until we meet again. But we know how to circumvent bloopers, don't we, Dr. Rebekah?
Yes.
Thank you so much. And until we meet again next time, thank you, Paul. Thank you, Dr. Rebekah. Buy Paul Vato's Vato Cigars and follow Dr. Rebekah Louisa Smith, our favorite film festival doctor. Until next time, I'm AJ Dean, and thank you so much for watching. Take care and goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.